Right, welcome to Behind the Bar podcast. With these, we want to give as much value to people as possible from our coaching team, our clients, and other personal trainers within the Northeast. So today's episode, which is episode 60, we've got Mr. Alex. Give us a little introduction, Alex.
Right, I'm Alex. Formerly, well, I used to be known as Alex 1, but, you know, I'm just Alex now. I am a coach out of the Sunderland unit, so I coach all the carnage with one of our programs, and I coach our barbell group as well.
So, I mean, it's been over a year now since you did the last podcast. I think so, with Alex 2. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
in Durham, yeah, I do.
I mean, like, you've been a coach with us, like, over a year and a half. Obviously, you've been a bit of a coach. Being a coach before that, but like, what's been the difference from like, say, going it alone to like working with us here at RT Fitness Barbell Club?
I just think a lot of it when I was on my own, I do a lot more different things alone. As in, there's a lot more planning involved for different clients, and I feel like I couldn't reach as much clientele on my own. Whereas now, since I've joined, like I've met like hundreds of people. And I've coached a lot of people, and I think I've met like quite a wide range of people. Whereas when I was on it alone, it was only like friends from here or like rugby lads here and there, because I was coaching at a rugby club. But I feel like I've met like such a wide range of people now, and I've learned so much more as well from meeting like different people, like adapting like different styles of training. I don't know, like Sheila, for example. Then I might get someone different, like a rugby player through the door where I'd have to change everything completely. But I've enjoyed it.
I mean, that is going to be most of my questions from what you've already explained there, Alex.
Oh, great. Planned that well, didn't it?
You did, I mean, yeah. So what did I ask first? I do have some free flow and stuff, but it's just, I'm just going to go through the questions first.
Go for it.
So, like, it's increased, like, your overall coaching people, like 20 people up in the carnage, working with small groups of 6. So that is a lot of people, and obviously now you've got, like, a lot of hours under your belt, you know, like how they say 10,000 hour type thing, and the needs, wants, and like, tell us obviously some of the stuff you've learned from like going from, say, just even that one-to-one thing of like now sort of multiple things, like how you're adapted and stuff like that.
I think at first it was quite daunting because I coached group classes before, but it wasn't anything major. Like I might have like a group of 6 boot camp, for example, where I started off. But then when it come to carnage, it was like some days in the summer might get like 20 people, and I'd be like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Like I felt like I have like constantly have like eyes everywhere. But I got used to it quite quick, which I enjoyed. But it's just such a big difference from maybe a 1-to-1, and you just chatting to them, you just get to know them. Whereas in a carnage class, you might only have like a handful of chats with random different people, but you've got to always have your eyes all around the class and stuff like that, which I do enjoy. But it's quite a change. It's good though.
So what's been the biggest things you've learned from it? And I mean, with the conversation thing, like on a day-to-day basis, you must be having like 30, 40 different 20-second conversations like in your head.
So it might be a case of like telling someone something on their exercise that they might ask me about like what they did at the weekend, then I'll have a little conversation with them, or like something easier, like most of the lads in the morning, they'll talk about the football, and we'll like randomly have like random different conversations. But I think I've learned to open myself a little bit more, because like before, I don't know, like before I did this, I was doing like joinery. I'd just see like this, work with the same person every day, barely chat with the customers, but I was quite quiet. But when I first joined, I wasn't like out there massively when I first joined. I feel
didn't take you long though.
Yeah, well, which is a good thing. But I feel like I throw myself into it. I've opened myself up a little bit more, as in, I think I'm more approachable than I used to be.
Right.
Whereas like I'm like always going around like trying to be as lively as I can, new clients, get them involved straight away, and just having like something more relatable to like the clients I've had for a while, like the likes of my 5:30 Nicola Burtons and all that. Like there's never a dull moment with them. Like there's like half the time I can't remember what they've done in a session, but we're just creased and howling throughout the whole session, which I really enjoy. Like it just makes what you do actually enjoyable.
I mean, going from that, like, yeah, the thing is, I thought straight away, like, you did, because, I mean, I'm, 10 years older than Joe. Joe's 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
And when you came in, like, I thought you adapted really fast. Because, like, when you were, like, you were coming out with exactly the same crack, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, like, and which translated straight across, like, because where you said Nicola Burton there, it's like, shit, I didn't want to say Nicola Burton's age. Sorry, Nicola, if you see this.
She looks good for it, though.
She looks good for it, yeah,
looks
yeah.
good for age.
But even that age group, like, you've had on a day-to-day basis, you've had to completely adapt to all of these different kind of people. And, like, how's that? I mean, I didn't like to use your age, but, like, from 22?
Just turned 22, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt it was quite hard at first because the same crack I'd get from most clients is, oh, you're old enough to be my grandson. You're old enough to be my son. And I was like, God, how do I go about, like, kicking their ass kind of thing in classes if they're going to go, oh, well, my son's older than you and stuff like that. Like, how are they going to take it kind of thing? But having the authority figure type thing. Like, how would they react if, say, like, their son's the same age as me, if not older, and then I'm, like, screaming and shouting at them, trying to get the best out of them? Would they take any notice? But I found it's easier just to go for it. If they've got a problem, that's on them. Like, they're paying for a service kind of thing. I'm not going to be anything less than what I am. I'll just go for it and see what happens.
So basically, just be yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's one of the key things is with coaching is just be yourself, and if people like you, they like you.
I think that's my coaching style. I've got I always go around trying to talk to everyone within a session if I can. Kind of just harder because everyone's, like, out of breath.
Sweaty clips.
Yeah. They'll be on the floor trying to get gasping for air and stuff like that. But it's manageable if you do it the right way. Whereas the barbell, like the small group, 6 people, I always try and get in at least a few conversations with everyone. But with my barbell groups now, like, I've had some of them for over a year. So we've got, like, a really good friendship. Like, some of them I've been out, like, obviously drinking. We do all, like, the summer socials. You always have a good laugh. But I think it's so different from where I was. And I think, like, whenever anyone new joins, they always think I'm older, which sometimes I take as a criticism, but which really it's a good thing because everyone always says that I'm a lot more mature for my age, which I always take on the chin, but realistically is a good thing. It just proves that I actually do carry myself well in sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah, you definitely do. But I think all of the coaches, like, who we've got, like, the younger coaches who we've had, like, I mean, Dan was a young coach when he started. Yeah. Mash was a young coach when he started. Obviously, Matty, you, and yous have got an older head on yous. And I think if in today's world of a 21, 22-year-old Instagram chasing for likes, trying to just look cool as millionaire weekend type vibes, like, they just wouldn't gel. Like, I don't think you could actually be a coach at that age in this world with that mindset.
No, I think definitely for, like, the type of clients we have, like, we've got a broad range, but majority of our clients are, like, middle to older clients.
Yeah, it's about 35 to 55.
Yeah, it's generally, like, we don't have, like, say, like, a group full of 18, 19-year-olds. Like, it tends to be a lot older. I feel like you've got to adapt, but it's not in a bad way. It's always in a good way, really.
I'd definitely say it in a good way because I think the older we get, the less we give a shit. So,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
and that's from the client's point of view. So they're more up for a laugh.
Yeah,
they don't get offended as easily. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a good thing. Right then, so so coaching all these people, like, over the amount of time, what's the biggest trait you see why people fail on their journeys?
Oh, that is a great question. I think the biggest thing's mindset.
Okay.
As in...
Elaborate.
Because some people turn up and they might have so much potential. You might see it in the straight away, go, oh, they could be really strong. They could get in a really good shape here. But the second they get in the door and think, no, I don't want to do this. Like, I can do it on my own, or I can't lift that weight. I track my calories. Well, really, they don't. As soon as their mindset isn't good enough, like, they might as well quit while they're ahead. But if you manage to change their mindset slightly, like the first few weeks you have them, they could go on to do so many better things. But I feel I've had new clients in the past where they'll turn up day dot and they might have, like, a few little niggles, injuries here and there, but they might just say straight away, right, I can't lift that immediately. And I'm like, you haven't tried. I was like, you need to actually try, push yourself first. And if you say lift that, I don't know, they're doing bench press, 20 kilo bar. No, I can't do it. I was like, you need to try first. Then I've had clients in the past, like Fran's a great example. As soon as she turned up, she was adamant she couldn't lift anything. She was really, like, she had no confidence whatsoever. So we just stripped it all the way back. And then it was like, I even had a conversation on, you need to change your mindset. I was like, you need to think of every session of always just giving it a go. If you fail, doesn't matter. I was like, everyone's got to start from somewhere. And then now she's off the bar and lifting 35, 40 kilos on the bench press and stuff like that. It's just little tweaks with a mindset of thinking, going into the session, I'm just going to go for it. I want to give it a proper go. If I don't, well, what's the point?
Nice. I mean, when like for me, I always find like the biggest trait is when they start, like, because one of our biggest habits is getting into the gym.
Yeah.
So I always find like the biggest trait of, like, say, people who say lose that momentum are the people who don't get in the gym. And I know we always talk this about in the staff meetings. Then it's like, and then how do we get them into the gym type thing? But there's some sort of barrier somewhere of where they're missing those sessions, and then it's just that knock-on effect of everything else. And it's like, I mean, that's the biggest trait I always see. Yeah. Like, as soon as they start stopping to come to the sessions, that's when we see that decline. But then it's like, why? Or do you have any clients who are just happy to turn up maybe 2 times a week and just keep going?
There's definitely a few I've got where they turn up a few sessions a week, don't really track, and they'll do it just so they can enjoy their weekend.
Right, yeah.
So
like a maintenance.
Yeah,
basically.
Literally like a maintenance. Like they'll just turn up there 2, maybe 3 times a week, do like the odd session. They might think about tracking their calories, they don't. They might get the protein, and that's about it. But then they'll do all of this just so they can go out on a weekend. But then they're the clients that won't get everything out of it that they put into it. Like Joe tells people time and time and again, the best results is people that actually use our app, obviously, properly, and get the results. But then if they're not using it, they're just going to constantly maintain, and then they're the people that sometimes just slowly drop off. It's just, I feel like it's a routine thing as well. Like once you like slip out of the routine, say if you're in like 4 days a week and you're constantly on it, as soon as you start to like gradually slip, like the weather started getting a bit colder now, like the darker nights, darker mornings. If they're like 2 mornings a week, I'm like, oh, I don't fancy it, it's dark now. And then come Christmas, they might not be in at all for 2 weeks. They just slowly start to decline, which is again what you said. Like as soon as they start stopping, it's just steady decline, and they might not come at all.
So you got all it, like where you said about the dark mornings and stuff like that. It's the same people on the dark mornings, though, right? Who, when it's sunny, have exactly the same excuses of like, all right, it's sunny, let's go out have a beer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
or it's too hot in a class.
Yeah.
When people complain about getting sweaty, I'm like, well, the exercise you're doing, you might sweat just a little bit. And then I feel it's the exact same people where some people just want an excuse where exactly, but if their mindset was different of, I want to get in 4 days a week, I want to make a difference, I want to track my calories, I want to get fitter, then they're going to be in 4 days a week. Like if they have the correct mindset of not just, there's they're just looking for an excuse. Like as soon as something changes in their life, they'll be like, no, I don't fancy it now.
But that just means, like, all in all, they're just not ready yet.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's the main thing. Like,
it's priorities, really.
It is priorities, and like that beer in the sun socializing is a priority.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like you can't knock them for it. I think it always just comes back of like where we like put our heart and soul into people, and then those traits go off, and then it's like some might just say, well, I'm not getting results, and it's like, but you're going out the cold mornings, it's like a seasonal type thing. You've had a holiday, and then you've had a week off afterwards because you had the holiday blues, but you had the week off before your holidays because you were packing for a week straight. Yeah, it's a tough one.
It is. I feel like they've got to look at themselves and think where they want them results. It's fine having that goal, but are they doing everything possible for them to actually get their results? It's like little things like someone came to us the other way, but oh, well, why am I getting my steps in? Like I don't have to, do I? And I was like, just little things like you need to be doing everything possible to get them results, but then as soon as people don't see results, like, oh, it's not working, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I say, yeah, it's always a tricky one. And do you know what it is? There's no harm in people just turning up 2 times a week, maintenance. I think they've just got to acknowledge that and just accept it and say, actually, yeah, that is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Instead of like still thinking just because they turn up twice a week that they're going to get results and still get pissed every weekend.
Yeah, but they need to know that that's the best that they can get. Instead of thinking, why can't I get somewhere else? But when really that's all they're doing, that's all they're going to get.
But that's cool if they accept it.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I mean. Like, they need to acknowledge it and understand why.
Meant. Sorted. What's been the funniest moment you've had being a coach with us?
There's a long list. Oh, God. Some of them I probably can't say on a podcast. A lot of them...
I mean, you could probably say no names.
Oh, to be fair, she won't mind. It's Deb Wood. She absolutely cracks me up. It's weird. Like, when my first day in the gym, she come walking in, I was like, bloody hell, who's that?
Right.
Like, well, for anyone I don't know, she's from Bolton. She probably won't mind me saying she's rough. And she's got like a thick Bolton accent, but she's the canniest lass in the world, and she just says how it is about anything, and she doesn't care what anyone thinks about her, and I think that's just one of the best ways to be. Like, there's plenty of times she's like, we're doing a session, and she'll just come out with the weirdest things, and I'm like, why is that coming out of your mouth? And then there's like random exercises where something might happen.
Nana of 10.
Yeah. Something might happen down below during a certain exercise, and she just laughs about it, and I'm like, I wish I could care as little as you about things like that. Like, it's such a good way to be. What did she do? It was like in the middle of, she was doing RDLs or something, and she hadn't been to the toilet, a little bit dribbled out, and she was just like absolutely creased at herself, and I was like, right, I can't do the session anymore. I think,
So basically all the funny moments is from Deb.
There's a lot of funny moments from Deb. There's a lot from Ben. Obviously, Ben's just joined us.
Yeah.
And me and Ben and Joe, obviously, Ant's joined us as well. We get on so well at Sunderland. Like, Joe said it on the podcast before you, and if you go to work and you enjoy it, you don't feel like you're working. And I was like, I turn up every single morning, not dreading work ever. Like, I always enjoy going to work. It's like working with your mates, as in coaches-wise and clients-wise. Obviously, I'm there to coach them, but like, a lot of them I'd consider my close friends as well. So I'm always having crap with them. Like, I can't even think of specific moments, because half the time we're laughing throughout a session. And I'd turn around like, what even happened that hour? Like, I don't even know what we spoke about. But it is good having colleagues close to you that you know you can have a laugh with. Yeah. I feel like if you turn up day in, day out, and you're like, dreading it, you're like, what am I doing here? Whereas, like, I've never looked back since being here, because I get on with everyone at the gym, and like, you turn up wanting to be there.
I mean, like, well, even your half five lot, like Nick Burton, Patsy and all that, it's like...
They actually call themselves the Tuckwell Tarts now.
The Tuckwell Tarts. So it's like, even them lot, like, on a night, like, they are respectable women, like, 40 plus. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they were taught you in a professional environment, they'd be super professional. But when them are all together, I mean, I always thought that was just going to be the nicer lady group type thing, but it ain't.
It's not.
Like,
no.
they are worse than the lads.
They really are, to be fair. Like, when I first started with them, I was, like you said, like, in a business environment, I was thinking I'll have to like watch what I'm saying around.
Like, adapt.
I thought I'd have to adapt. Like, like most of them are my mum's age. Like, what kind of conversations? Like, how would I put myself across? But I literally had to be myself, and they respond exactly the same way. Like, they never take themselves too seriously. They always have, like, I always give the clients a choice for what music they want on. They always get the 80s on. They're two-stepping around the gym. They're singing and dancing, but they still do everything I ask in the exercise. Like, within the session, they do the exercises. They do them to the best of their ability, but they're just enjoying their training, which is, like, really good to see.
Yeah, I like that. I like that session. Like, I do.
It's always been a good session.
I'll get me questions up when it scrolled up. That's great. What happened? I don't know why it went at the top of my messages. Right, where are we at? That's Ant's questions, not yours. If you could give some advice to a newbie wanting to change their health and fitness for the better, what would be the biggest advice they should start with? So let's just, someone just like generally wanting to get in shape, like they haven't been to a gym or anything like that, and Want to lose a bit weight, just the standard stuff. Like solid piece of advice?
I'd say just start. Instead of thinking about it too much, thinking, what am I going to do? Just make a start. Even if it's just tracking your food, or even if it's just going for more walks throughout the day, as soon as you make that initial start, it's going to have a big knock-on effect, and you might end up doing 4 sessions a week at a different gym. Or I'd always say just don't be on the fence too much. There's a lot of people out there that they always think about what they're going to do, and they just put it off and put it off and put it off, and they might not ever end up doing it. But as soon as you make that initial start of doing one little change, like I say, track their food, steps here and there, or even if you get a watch, cheap watch, think about getting 10,000 steps. As soon as they get into that little change, they might end up going, oh, I'm really enjoying this. Like, what else can I do? And then they'll just keep adding little things into their routine, and then they'll end up, I don't know, coming to the barbell club.
But what would you say to somebody to start with? Just say one type of thing, because it's I think it's sometimes a bit of an overload even for our carnage clients, where it's right, you're going to be turning up 3 to 4 sessions a week now, you're going to be tracking your food, you're going to be getting your 10,000 steps in. Now, you've also got to hit your protein goals. Do you know what I mean? And it's quite an overload, but we all obviously from our end we want to do that, but just say from that one if you can, I know it's never just one piece of advice, but what kind of would you say steps first? Would you say nutrition first, or would you just say right, get to the gym and this is the kind of stuff you're going to do in a gym?
I'd probably say steps, because it's so accessible for everyone.
Right.
Whereas literally everyone out there, unless obviously you're in a wheelchair and stuff like that, but you can literally just get out the door, go for a walk. Whereas not everyone might be able to go to the gym. There could be injuries getting in the way, childcare getting in the way, random different things, money and stuff like that. Whereas anyone can walk out their front door and just go for a walk straight away. Majority of people out there have got a watch. They can track their steps, and I feel like you can go quite far just getting steps in, even if you're not tracking your food properly, because the food you're having, you might be well within your calories anyway, and you don't know it. So if you start straight away and think, right, I'm going to hit 10. As soon as they've hit 10, they might think, oh, that's quite easy now. I've got a lot more time in my hands, and they might just keep pushing it and pushing it. But I feel like you can get results just from starting and doing the minimum, and then it'll have a knock-on effect straight away.
Solid. Yeah, because I don't even think I think people, most people always think, I'll start with a run. But they can't. They shouldn't. And I think I seen someone the other day who's just getting back into running and well overweight, and it's why are you doing that? And these people know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? And it's still even their mentality of actually years after training, going out for a run because they've gained some weight.
Yeah.
And I mean, what do you think on that?
I mean, I don't consider myself a massive runner, but I do run a lot. And I think it's such a risk to reward thing. Whereas if you just getting back into fitness, it's not for the most people that might want to do it for fat loss. It's not I think it's terrible for fat loss.
Yeah,
because when people start, they might think, right, I'm going on a run straight away. They might pound themselves for 10k. Next morning, oh God, I've got a bad knee, I've got a bad back. Straight away,
you're not going to run out for 10k, are they?
Exactly. But say for example, they just pound themselves. I don't know, half an hour.
Yeah.
And then straight away they're oh God, my knees are hurting. I didn't enjoy that. Why did I do that? And then constantly they're thinking, right, I'm just gonna have to bury myself in a run every time. Well, that's why I say steps is so much better because it's more accessible. If I don't know, my mum for example, she can't run. She's got a bad knee, but she can walk. She gets nearly 15,000 steps in with the dogs, but she's not going to go out and run a 5k in 15 minutes, is she? She's not going to try and bury herself in a 5k. I just think I just don't get the people that look to run straight away. It's so bad for fat loss. It's good for fitness and pushing yourself, try to improve that way, but it's terrible for fat loss in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree. Everybody can walk. That's the thing. Everybody can walk, and it's less friction. And I think probably the mindset of it all is if you go out for that run to think that's the first thing. I think this is an ingrained from years and years and years they were running. That's the thing. It's running was always the first protocol type thing. And for them then to get in that mindset of actually running and then trying to keep that up, they'll never keep it up.
No.
But they can keep up a 20-minute walk.
Oh, 100%. Just like taking the dogs out. And I think social media plays a massive thing at the minute, because you look on social media, every fitness influencer and stuff like that are out running. And they're running like PBs on their half marathons. Everyone's pushing for like high rocks, and you say like young people are always running. And then anyone starting their fitness is going to go on Instagram, flick through Instagram and see, oh, bloody hell, running's good. They're in shape, they're running. I need to do that. And then like I listened to something the other day of like you see all like the Kenyans and stuff like that, or like they're built literally like a breadstick. Yeah. And they're running their marathons, and people are thinking, bloody hell, I'm going to look like that if I start running. But it's a complete other way around. Like, they're built like that, and that's why they run, because they are built for running.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
didn't start running.
Yeah.
They didn't start running to look like that. They already look like that. That's why they run. They're built for it.
Was that like a James Smith thing?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah, like swimmers.
Alex Tuckwell thing that.
Yeah. Mint. I mean, we'll end it on like you're doing your big cut now. How's that? How's that going? First cut? Is it your first cut type thing? And
for a photo shoot.
I mean, how's it going? Yeah,
it's my first one for a specific photo shoot. I did one. I think it's looking back 2 years ago. But I only did it because I was going on holiday. And I liked how I looked, but I didn't look like I'm not that I have much muscle now, but I didn't have as much as I did then, and I just looked really small. I was running a lot, and my mindset was fat loss at that point. Like, before I started doing the PT stuff, I was like, right, I'm just gonna have to run nearly every day, get my 5K, like lockdown stuff like that. Like, that was such a big thing. Whereas now, like, I think last 2 weeks I've ran maybe once. I'm on the bike a lot more recently. Getting out on the road bike and stuff like that. But I'm enjoying the cut. I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would. I feel like once you start to see changes, because of the first few weeks, obviously we had loads of events on, really, didn't we? We had the summer social, few weddings, I had 2 nights out with like the rugby club and stuff. So I started a few weeks before because I knew what was going to happen. And at first I didn't see change. I was thinking, that's going to take ages. It's like I'm not going to look how I want to look, but I am happy now. But I'm glad when it's over. Like,
me too.
Yeah,
can't wait till it's over. But we'll enjoy Ibiza.
Of course we will.
Perfect. Thank you very much.